pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can you take roll, Mary?
Murray?
Yes.
Finley? Here. Getzinger?
Here.
Bittert?
Yep.
Swacky here.
Approval of our regular meeting minutes from November 12th.
I just had one change. Under the correspondence in information, I spelled GAMPS wrong,
Okay.
so it should be GAAMPS. I'll make that change. And then, anybody else have any other? I'll make a motion to approve the regular minutes of November 12th as amended.
Yes, it is. Okay. All right.
Who's that?
Is there support?
I'll support that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Our meeting minutes are a matter of record. And then we have set and amend the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
I was wondering,
Oh.
since we had the waste hauler on last month, and then we had a special meeting that had to be canceled, why wouldn't that be on for old business or unfinished business? Especially since the contract is up at the end of next month.
Well, yeah, we'll add it, and then we'll let you know, yeah.
All right.
Transfers,
Under
no problem.
unfinished business?
Transfer site. A motion to approve agenda as amended and add, transfer site under old business. Unfinished business. Okay.
Motion to approve as amended?
I'll make that. Are you asking
I
for
mean-
the motion, or I'll make the motion?
All right. Support?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have an agenda to work from. Bills.
I was going through these bills, and I was looking at the site plans for DeHunt, and I know that, when I asked Mary about it, she said that we pay the site plan review, the planner, for a DeHunt thing that's on there. But I also saw that there was quite a few things coming from Blake's, and I asked her, and she said that Blake's are not paying for it, even though there is site plan reviews or planner reviews plus attorney fees, and I'm just kind of wondering why the Blake's aren't paying for their stuff, just like DeHunt would have to pay for theirs.
The information that we asked the attorney for was a legal opinion that was discussed at the last meeting. Our planner gave us a memorandum explaining their position on how they viewed the Right to Farm Act and the GAMPS rules. We need to be able to make clear decisions based on legal opinion in order for the Planning Commission to move forward. Now, we've been stalled a month because the attorney has a concern about working on something and not getting paid for it.
And I understand all of that, but my question is, this was something that was presented by the Blakes for them, and they asked for these meetings, and I don't understand what the difference would be between DeHunt turning in something and asking for their engineering stuff. I don't understand why there would be a difference.
Because the Blakes made it very clear to the township that being that there's folks that would make motions not to do anything for the Blakes until they fix the roads, they put them in a precarious situation to get GAMS certified. So they invited us to a meeting with all of our significant department heads, i.e. the Planning Commission chair, the clerk, myself, building department, to educate us on what their rights are under the GAMS law.
And
So
that's great.
our planner was there, and they were all there by my invitation.
Okay, that's fine, but we still have the planner and the engineer do something like DeHunt's engineering, all that, and we always have anybody who's
This was not
requested
a-
that.
This was not a site plan review.
It's still using our professionals for one particular item, and it's always been.
We're using our professionals to define the GAMS rules and the Right to Farm Act based on farm markets for anybody in the township.
This state specifically Blake's,
It states specifically Blake's,
yes.
but anybody is covered by these rules. The question from building and the question from planning was, how does this affect our ordinance as a whole?
I disagree.
I understand that, but that's
Fully
why we
disagree.
did it.
This was done for Blake specifically. I disagree.
Okay.
Any other questions on the bill? I'll make a motion to approve the previously paid fire bills, $314,855.50. General, $4,481.65. Payroll, fire department, $68,374.62. General, $14,433.88. Current open invoices, fire department, $10,792.48. General, $24,908.86. Tax disbursements, $11,741.65. Trust and agency paid out, $2,285. Open, $215, for a total of $452,088.64.
Is there a motion to pay the bills?
I made the motion, anybody second?
I'll support.
Getzinger?
Yes.
Swack, yes. Patrick?
Yep.
Murray?
Yes.
Finley?
No.
Okay, the bills are paid. Public comments?
It's really beyond.
I'm trying to find out if there's anybody that has any public comments. If you want to unmute your phone and speak one at a time.
How many people are on there, does it say?
Yeah, I have 6.
I know I'm logged in.
Yep, you are. Okay. Trying to. Not hearing it. Correspondence and information?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Reports, Chief, Fire Department?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For the month of November, we responded to 89 EMS calls, 20 fire calls totaling 109. We provided aid to other departments twice and received it once. Overlapping call was 7.34%. Our average EMS response was 6 minutes and 17 seconds. Our average fire was 9 minutes and 45 seconds. A couple of those were non-emergency, so that shows the long response time for the fire.
I was also told we're over 1,000 runs this year?
We're sure on pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Chief. And the ordinance report is outside storage. We're still waiting for the attorney to set up a meeting with the other attorney so that we can do a site inspection. There was no response to the corrective action plan from the property owner. It's been turned over to the attorney. The 77-191 McFadden unlicensed vehicles, revisited the site, multiple trucks and vehicles on the property, no response or corrective action from the property owner. That's been turned over to the attorney. And 77-915, we visited the site. The brother-in-law actually, his truck is still on the property. I resent the letter because I had typed, I inverted 2 numbers, and the letter that I sent to him went to the wrong address, and the homeowner called me and made me aware of the fact that I mailed it in error, so he was sent another letter. Building department. I didn't see mine.
I'll read it.
Okay, thank you.
2 demolition, for the month of November, 2 demolitions, 3 pole barns, 1 home, 1 commercial, 6 electrical, 5 mechanical, 2 plumbing, total permits issued 20, total building inspections 44.
Thank you very much. McComag PDR?
The only thing we got was the request for the annual dues. and
Money,
that's it.
yeah, that's on the agenda.
Yep, that's it.
Parks and Rec is still closed. Water and Sewer's down. Home Orchard Trail, no correspondence. Senior Center's closed. Treasurer's report?
Treasurer's report shows that all of our bank reconciliations are matching our general ledger and everything's balanced.
And our Internet Subcommittee.
We met On December 2nd, we discussed the recent communication from Comcast regarding the 2.0 grant, as well as other steps we might want to pursue with other providers. Our ultimate goal is having availability throughout the township. So if we can't get that all through Comcast, we'd like to open the door and see what all we can get. So we also talked about developing a plat map with actual lot lines where the internet service is currently available. And because a lot of the information that was on the CMIC 1.0 grant is really not completely accurate, showing people have internet availability
Yeah, the
when
map,
they don't.
the map they showed.
Right.
And Sean was in contact with Tom regarding what kind of programs we have here that we may be able to plat, things out so we have a better understanding. Tom doesn't have the same thing that Sean was, but we're gonna work with the county and then bring Tom in on, so we can kind of all be on the same page with lot lines and plat lines and,
Tom meeting our assessor.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, talked to Sean and told him I wasn't familiar with, exactly with what the assessor had. I know we had the GS in the
RTI.
system, I know we have the
Right.
maps online, but I didn't know
right,
how to
and
put that together.
I'm not a real good technology person, so, that's Sean's area of expertise and he's running with it. So we're still in contact with Comcast. I do know that I haven't personally seen any vehicles in the area, although we were told that they would be out to start their work, the week after Thanksgiving. Some people have seen them recently, but I haven't, but.
Yeah, they're doing survey work on where they're gonna put the
Right,
lines.
and so
Exactly.
they can get all their paperwork in order for applying for permits and everything, so.
And I saw Comcast said in response to an email that it would probably be best for us to wait until they got more comfortable with what they're doing for the 2.0 grant.
Right, and which I understand, it's just, since time is, critical, January 4th is gonna be here before we know it, so,
Bump 'em.
we'd hope to be,
Yeah, bump them a little bit and keep it
yeah,
moving.
so, we're keeping communication lines
Great,
open.
thank you.
I'll make a motion to receive and file, reports.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the reports will be a matter of record. Now we're gonna go to the transfer site under unfinished business. What I have, at least all I have, is the information we received from
So just to refresh, we were intended to have a special meeting, but that was canceled due to the COVID restrictions that we have. So we haven't had any discussion since the last meeting.
But I do have correspondence from Jeff's Rubbish and Emmett. Again, we still have the two quotes from GFL and Priority Waste.
So when were these quotes received? Are they?
No, they're
from-
not quotes, no,
They're
that's
not-
where
they're
we
not
What
were.
quotes, they're
correspondence
information.
did you get from
Are you
Jeff
talking
Rubin?
about
That's just
examples?
your summary that you had before, remember? That you gave
Well,
us?
that's my work.
Yeah, that's just.
Yeah,
Oh, that
okay.
wasn't a correspondence from Justin, that's just my,
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
I'm
work.
just bringing everybody up
Yeah.
to speed with what information we have in front of us, even the one from Ray
Ray
Township.
Just
The
examples.
single waste hauler,
Right.
exactly, something to look at. We
Yeah.
have posted the actual contract or whatnot on Mitten to see who's
For the
available.
transfer site?
For the
Right.
transfer site, to see who's available. Chief Crouchy was kind enough to do that for us.
Thank you very much.
So, and bids are due in by the 28th for us to take another look at it once we get information from several other waste haulers.
28th of December?
Yes.
And again,
Okay.
that would be to
The bid opening,
maintain the transfer site for
For one
one
more year.
more year,
Or,
while
yeah.
we're evaluating options.
Right.
Yep.
I did contact Tom, our assessor, to see if he had a more accurate number of how many households were in the township and the village that we could use as, I know last year's survey was done, but it only went out in tax bills.
Mhm.
So people, if you pay an escrow account,
And
they
mortgage,
didn't
right, you don't get
necessarily get that. So he told me there's roughly 2,000 households that would.
Okay, my number is 1,954.
Okay, and he told me it was about 1985, give or take, a few here
Okay,
or
so
there.
1 year difference, that would make sense,
Yeah,
30 homes.
so, Yeah, it was not a big difference, but, so I'm just using 2,000. He used approximately 2,000. I'll just use that as just a round number,
Mhm.
basic. And one of the things I think that we should take into consideration once these bids come through, you know, I mean, just like the long line of people waiting to get into the transfer site, how much big household waste.
What
type
kind of
things,
waste
what
they
kind
take,
of
the
waste they're
transfer
bringing.
site's the biggest problem, right?
Right, because, I mean, it is an eyesore. It's, you know, people are backed up waiting in line to get through for quite some time from, you know. So, I mean, those are all non-financial aspects that
That
need
goes
to be
back as
taken
far
into
as the Santa's
consideration.
Lion, you know that? Because you even mentioned what we could do with the property, but at one point, that was an open dump, where they buried stuff, so.
Right.
That's kind of,
I did speak with Waste Management after our last meeting, just to ask them some questions, and they said certainly, it's most convenient if, when townships come around and do the township pays the provider monthly, this is for curbside pickup, if Armada were to go to a curbside pickup and it was, they said it's most convenient if it's essentially a mandatory where all residents pay through their taxes, and then the township pays Waste Management. They said if you go the other route where individuals pay, there's sometimes issues, say a resident doesn't pay their bill, and there tends to be these complaints through the township. So they did say it tends to be most convenient on the one, but they also said that it certainly can be, the township could just negotiate a rate on behalf of the properties, and it's either optional or not optional, you know, to pay directly. The township would be out of it after that. So they did say there are different options. Every community does it different. There's pros and cons to both.
Right.
I'm under the impression too, if you're paying semi-annually, quarterly, annually, whatever, and they don't have to do the billing, it also reduces the price of
Yes.
the service.
So there's
Mhm.
Yep.
certainly potential cost savings. I know I personally pay annually because it's cheaper, so obviously that would make sense if we negotiated a rate and it's not required. There may be a cost, there may be steps, you know, cost structure based on how often you pay. Certainly if
Right.
it's through the township, I think it's typically a monthly bill that the township pays directly, you know, and then, but they did say that
And
if
that
that
can
were.
be negotiated also, because, I mean, who likes the bill coming in every month?
Uh-huh.
When you can have it quarterly or
Sure.
semi-annual.
They did say, at least they believe that if that were to happen, their public meetings would be required because you're adding a fee to the
Right, public
taxes.
hearing.
I don't
Mhm.
know for sure, but that's what I was led to believe.
Mhm.
on
I know
there.
other municipalities have single waste haulers, and the community where I used to live had one, and they've done it successfully for about 5 years now. And it is, the township did not, they didn't pay the provider. It was billed through the provider to the homeowner or whoever. And they are, as far as I know, there's been no issues. I mean, a couple times there, people have had, you know, complaints, the garbage wasn't picked up till 3 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock, or, you know, whatever, or they missed it, or, and the supervisor there did call the waste hauler on behalf of the resident and got things worked out, but it wasn't, and you could opt out, like I personally opted out, you know, because I
Uh-huh.
didn't have a need for, garbage pickup at my house, so, I just had to opt out and sign a waiver stating that I was refusing it, you know, because of this, and sign off on it, so that isn't an issue either.
Yeah, I know that some of the surveys that we received, I believe it was through that survey that they had said, well, they have their own, they're not really interested in being forced to. So that's something we would have to talk about as well.
Mhm.
I did ask about the, kind of the transition, and said, well, if we were to do this, whether it was required or an optional service, how does that transition go? You know, or is there a certain time of the year that they have to sign up? And they said typically the company who's becoming the single hauler will prepare letters that that the residents can send saying, this is the date I need my service stop, and at least I understood it to be that there's kind of that, through their experience, that's expected, and there's usually cooperation if that's so people aren't having to pay 2 bills for 3
Oh, right.
months or whatever, you know, however that works.
Right.
But the problem is, I mean, that works for people who already have their garbage, so they're gonna get a lower rate,
Uh-huh.
and that works great. But you've got 30% roughly of the people using the transfer site that
Yeah.
pay nothing, and this is what they say is the only thing they get for their taxes.
I know, I get that, yeah.
So now you're going to tax them even more for a service that they did get for free before.
You're
That's
saying-
going to be very hard to
You're
do.
saying if we require them to
If
get
we
the
were-
service?
Yes, and we put this on their tax bill.
Yeah.
I don't like that idea at all.
Yeah, I'm not saying I support that either, I'm just giving the options that I've seen. At this time, I know this is just very preliminary in my opinion, but I do see it as going the way of Armada Township negotiates a rate, and we publish that rate, or get to the people and say, here it is, if you want to use this company, that's the best rate we could get, this will be your rate for the next 3 years, or however that would work, and they'd have the option of doing it or not, and then I would envision that over time, if we reach a certain threshold where the majority of residents are utilizing that service, then it may be.
See, and I still struggle with,
Worth
telling
going.
4 or 5 other trash haulers that are local,
Yeah, well, so
Stay
to
out of
me,
here.
I don't think that we would, at least at the beginning, I don't think we would be denying anybody but I think we would be negotiating and publishing a rate. I don't think at that point we would say, this is the only company you can use, because we're not requiring them to use that company at all. They could,
No, well, I know in other municipalities, they have chosen a single waste hauler, and one of the reasons was because of less
Sure.
traffic
Less
on the
traffic,
roads
yeah.
and,
It's
and
cheaper.
less wear and tear, especially on the dirt roads that, take a beating
sure,
anyway, so.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot, and if you have a public forum, once you get some more information or whatever, but I know when I was running, that's what a lot of the times when I was talking to people, that was one of the big things they wanted to know about, was having a single waste hauler, because they did not like hanging onto their garbage for 2
2
weeks
weeks. Yeah,
and
I
putting the
agree.
kitty litter in the
Yeah.
back of their cars and taking it to the transfer site. And so they did want information on having a single waste hauler, negotiated to be a good option for all the
Yeah.
residents, so.
I think there'd be a good compromise, in my opinion, is gonna be a transition, so I think it'll kind of flesh itself out. If we did a 3-year optional, I think after 3 years, we're gonna find that the majority are using one company, and it's not like then we've given time to those opponents who don't support it, and they go, oh, well, I guess it's worth it for me to use that company, they're the cheapest one, and then they're not arguing against it. Now, I think you'll have more support, I think, in 3 years for, okay, everybody, this is what you got, it's cheaper for everybody,
And then you would still do the transfer site?
No, I don't think so.
So then how would you transfer off of that? Because then you're going to be taking away somebody's
Well, if
only
you,
rate.
transferring off of that is more like you don't contract anybody to be there.
I understand
it
that,
gets
but as far
closed.
as the residents go, that's the only thing they get.
Well, I know, I'd asked the clerk about, did we raise taxes to have the transfer site
That's
initially?
so
And
many years ago.
Yeah, no, and the answer was no, we didn't. And we haven't raised the taxes as the price has gone up, so there's certainly, I also think that in time, whether it's right away or in 3 years or whatever, that I would foresee eventually getting rid of the transfer site, because I don't think we need both.
Well,
But
one
I
of the
think we need-
options would be to use that transfer site, say, once a month or once a quarter, or whatever,
Or
just pick
for
a
the
number.
recycling or something.
Yeah, bring in your household, your furniture,
Well,
your
your
ovens,
large
your
items.
electronics,
Once a
your.
quarter.
Generally,
Yeah, because
with,
that's what Ray Township does, they have the single waste hauler, and then once a month,
Month.
they have the recycling.
Yeah,
Well, okay, so there's certainly different options. If I use Waste Management as the example, they currently do recycling. So you'd have weekly recycling and garbage, and the way a typical contract would work is that garbage truck, if you put a large item, they have large item pickup every week, essentially. If you put one, you can have one large item a week.
Right.
You put it out, the truck just calls their manager and says, hey, we need the big
yeah.
cube truck
We got a
come and
couch
pick
out
up
here
this,
today, so.
stove or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that those concerns eventually, again, I think will be fleshed out if we go, oh, this actually works, I have a way to get rid of my couch. I was worried about that, and that's the only reason I use the transfer site, I think that they
Right.
would find that.
But, and if we had, like, events, like you said, the the electronic events, the whatever, people would still be getting their money's use out of it, because they can take their old electronics and dump them. They can take their ovens and the refrigerators and stuff like that, and not have to,
You
you
get
know.
paid for a refrigerator, though. They'll pay you for one.
Right,
Actually, they pay to take them
sometimes.
because of the Freon.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But, so I don't think there's any option we would do that's gonna make everybody happy.
Well,
I
no,
think
you
it's
can't
gonna
make
be,
everybody
But
happy,
I
but
just
transition.
think that the township should kick in at least half of the money. And we're already paying for,
Well, there's no
Order.
question that money from the transfer site that's been used for the transfer site should get rolled over into the cost of whatever a waste hauler would be and reduce the amount that's invested into a waste hauler. But, you know, if we're talking 30% of the township uses it, that means 70% does. So 70% of the people are paying for a service they're not
Right.
using. So,
Yeah.
yeah, rolling that money back into reducing the cost monthly for some of these residents is definitely
Yeah.
something we
Yeah.
can entertain. Okay, no action on that. It stays on unfinished business. Once we get our bids open on the 28th, we'll have more information for the board. The 2021 summer tax collection agreements.
this is the same as last year, just the date has been changed. And it's just to collect the summer taxes. So I'll make a motion to approve all 4 agreements as presented for 2021 summer tax collection.
Support. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Tom. Yep. Murray,
yes.
Swack, yes. Getzinger,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yep.
Finley.
Yes.
Our open meetings resolution for 2021 are as follows. Mary's put together a list. January 13th, 2021, February 10th, 2021, March 10th, 2021, April 14th, 2021, May 12th, 2021, June 9th, 2021, July 14th, 2021, August 11th, 2021. I don't know why I keep saying that. September
It's gotta be
8th,
better than
2021, October 13th, 2021, and November 10th, 2021, with our last meeting in December on December 8th.
Yep. And I did talk to Tom about the board of review, because that falls within that week, and he said he's gonna have morning and afternoon sessions, so we can have our meeting at night.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as presented for the board meetings for 2021.
Support.
Finley,
Yes.
Getzinger,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Swack, yes. Parrot.
Yep. Our meeting dates are set. Then we have our proposed budget meeting dates. Tuesday, January 12th at 7 p.m. Tuesday, January 19th at 7 p.m. And again, these are fire and general.
Well, last year we did the fire by itself, the first one.
Right.
So if we want to do that again, we can do that.
You did January 12th and 19th, those are just a week apart. Can you put February 2nd and then February 9th instead of going?
Oh, sure, okay, cross out the 19th and put
16th.
February 2nd and then February 9th.
Yes,
No problem.
that's my opinion anyway.
And January 19th is now not a meeting.
No, January 19th is a meeting.
Mary misspoke there. January
Oh.
12th, January 19th, February 2nd, February 9th.
Yes.
Okay. And does February 16th become the if necessary?
No,
Yeah.
March 2nd.
March 2nd.
March 2nd, okay, all right.
All right, I'll
I
make a
can
mo-
just recap, I want to make sure I didn't screw up. The 12th, the
January
19th,
12th, January 19th,
February 2nd and 9th.
February, yep,
And
2nd,
then March
February
2nd
9th,
if-
and March 2nd.
March 2nd.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the budget meeting dates as amended.
I'll support.
And those are all Tuesdays, and they're all at 7 p.m.
Yeah,
Yep.
does that work for
Yes.
you, Tuesdays?
Sure, I
Okay.
guess.
Murray,
Yes.
Swack, yes. Finley,
Yes.
Getzinger,
Yes.
Parrot.
Yep. Fire Department fiscal year 2021 budget amendments.
We're making a few amendments. A lot of it is because the grants we received. The COVID-19 grant, we ended up receiving more funding because we were able to use some of the village's money, so it was an increase in the income. For fiscal year grant, because of our award for the AFG vehicle, the wellness grant, and we also got a state fire marshal grant, that increased the income as well. The new amounts are listed there. And then because of that, obviously, there's corresponding expenses that follow. And the other one is station maintenance. We had the very large expense, or the very expensive maintenance on our exhaust system, and so we moved money around to accommodate for that.
All righty.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendments as presented.
Support.
Murray?
Yes.
Peter?
Yep,
Ketzinger?
Yes.
Finley?
Yes.
Swack, yes.
thanks, Chief.
Thank-
General Fund fiscal year 2021 budget amendments.
Yep, I just had one. Busy Bee did not send our invoices until April of this fiscal year, so it upset our budget, so we have to make a transfer of funds. I took it out of the chloride maintenance, be 14,300 into the monthly transfer site expense. We have enough for December, which is 4,100. We need January, February, March. January will be $4,100. February, March, we don't know. I added like $1,000 to February and March without knowing the exact,
That's if they'll continue,
yeah.
right.
So, but that's what I did. So I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendments as presented.
Second?
Getzinger?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Swack, yes. Finley?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes. Approval of Macomb County designated assessor interlocal agreement. What this really means is the county is being required for us to sign up with a designated assessor if Tom was to become missing or whatnot. The county needs to put itself in a position to have an assessor available for our township. This doesn't preempt us or keep us from hiring another assessor. It just means we have somebody to go to that the county has designated as their approved assessor. So we need to get this into them, needs to be done, matter of fact, ASAP. So I have to get it back to the county.
Okay, I'll make that motion to approve the interlocal agreement for January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2025 as presented, and to have supervisor sign and return to Macomb County as required.
Support.
So you essentially said this, but if the assessor for whatever reason is unable to perform his duties, then this is we'd be obligated to use, the county would provide this person, but we would have to pay for that, right?
We're not obligated to use this. This is who we would use if we went to the county. We could be just as well to go out and hire our own assessor.
Yeah, you can hire John
Okay.
Smith, but if something happened
Right.
and we needed somebody,
So again, if the township was negligent then in any way or didn't meet some deadlines or something, the county has somebody that, I took this to essentially
they're-
come in and take over if they
Well,
had
no,
to.
they're actually just approved to be our assessor
Okay.
if we need. So, you know, if all of a sudden your assessor retires and it takes you 6 months to find an assessor, you can use their approved
Got it.
assessor for 6 months until such a time you get your own retained.
Got it. But there is a cost to do that, just to be
Oh,
clear.
yeah.
Murray?
yes.
Getzinger?
Yes.
Swack, yes. Finley?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes. Thanks for taking care of that business. Macomb Ag PDR, again, the Macomb Agricultural Property Development Rights Committee would like to request our $250 annual fee. Is there a motion?
Yep, I'll make that motion to approve the annual membership fee of $250.
Is there support?
I'll support.
Finley?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Swack, yes. Getzinger?
Yes.
Peter?
Yep.
And then the second motion we'll
Yeah.
need is for the grant, the $500. You're also asking for that to contribute the $500 to Macomb County Farm if it's selected.
I was gonna say, I thought that was
Yep. It's
if
just, we need
it
to,
was selected.
yeah, we have to make a separate motion for that.
Oh, okay.
So I'll make a motion to contribute $500 to the Macomb Agricultural PDR if a Macomb County farm is selected for a state grant reward.
I'll second.
Would that farm need to be in Washington, Richmond, Bruce, or Lennox?
Macomb County.
She said Macomb County.
Macomb County.
Do any other
There's other
townships
townships.
do that?
Other townships,
Yes.
they've already done that. They've already
Yes.
contributed the five.
And
No,
there's
I mean,
only
I
two,
guess what I'm saying is
right?
the farms in Macomb Township.
Are there any farms that are not part of these,
Are they
in
part
these
of-
townships that do ag PDR?
They're not part of the PDR, though,
I don't-
are they?
I don't
There's,
think
there's
they
only
are.
two that is,
Yeah,
and it's the same two.
yeah.
Because we do have townships that aren't in the Macomb Ag PDR.
Right.
So maybe the motion should include any farms selected in the membership of the Macomb Agricultural Property Rights Development Commission.
Okay, selected in the Macomb Agricultural PDR Commission. I will add that. Getzinger?
Yes.
Swack, yes. Finley?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Garrett.
Yep. Okay. Sarah? Authorization for legal opinions.
Yeah, I brought this up, I wanted to, I was kind of, I guess, having a confused moment. I remember at the meeting last month that John had said that he was going to be contacting the attorney, in order to get a legal opinion. And, then I'm seeing things in my email that they're not doing a legal opinion because of this or that or whatever, that was not a board action taken to say he could get a legal opinion. That just kind of blew my mind. Because at the meeting, I distinctly remember him saying that he was going to be contacting them to get the legal opinion. This is on the GAMS. So I didn't understand how this has been put off for a whole month when part of the supervisor's duties are to run the township and to be in contact with legal agents as required by the job description. So I just didn't understand why it was not, why the legal opinion didn't come through when he requested it.
Our board has pulled legal bills out of the bills and refused to pay them because I've done business for the township and they just didn't want to pay the bill. Now, the attorney's done the work and our attorney knows that if there's potential for them to pull the bill and invoice that for work they've rendered and not get paid, they're not willing to take that risk.
Okay, I guess I just still don't understand. It just makes, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. But in my experience, a supervisor and a clerk are typically the only people in the township that have full obligation and full permission or
the legal
whatever to
statutory
talk to
responsibilities.
legal. Right. So anybody else in any other instance that I've been a part of or board that I've been on or any committee that I've been a part of over the course of 30-some years, you know, if I needed to talk to the attorney for something, I had a question, I would have to ask I would have to ask permission from the supervisor to say, hey, I need to talk to the attorney about X, Y, Z. Is it okay if I call them? And then that supervisor or whatever would say, you know, I'll ask for you, or no, or yes, you can, or whatever. But the supervisor and the clerk are the only people really that should have full range to speak to the attorneys and to request legal opinions.
That's not the way it is here.
Well, that's the way it is everywhere else.
I don't think so.
I do. In my experience for the
Okay.
last 30 years.
Okay.
So, in any case, whether that's, the point is that this should not have been held up for a month because he asked for a legal opinion, which he has every right to do, and it wasn't done because board didn't take action. The board did take action. The supervisor runs the board.
No,
meeting.
oh,
Not-
absolutely
All
not.
right,
See, that's
that-
why
no,
you're having a
stop,
problem.
Stop.
Yeah.
Wrong
So,
choice of
this
words,
is the
so
way it goes.
stop. Okay. The supervisor does run the meetings.
That's it. the meeting.
That's not all of the supervisor's
No, but
responsibilities.
that's the word that it is.
So is there a motion? I mean, if we need the attorney, if we think this is something the attorney should do, can we simply make
Yeah,
a motion to make it clear to the attorney that,
Yeah.
of our expectations?
I would like to make a motion to allow the supervisor and the clerk to contact and request legal communications from all legal counsel as necessary to do the business of the township as their positions as supervisor and clerk dictate.
Oh, I see. So this is exclusively.
Not just for this issue?
This is exclusively.
Mhm.
Oh, I see. So you're doing his work for him. I see. Okay.
No, I'm doing
No,
what's.
I see. This is never,
You
this is
can-
not in our policy,
You
but
can have
you
your
are going
opinion.
to do this.
I'm making the motion, that's all I'm doing.
Okay.
So there is a motion on the table.
I support it. Because I do think that the way the board's operated has definitely compromised my ability to do business for the township on multiple occasions.
It's my, of course, I don't have time to look through this. I didn't know that this is coming, but it's my understanding that the supervisor, actually the entire board, does have the authority to speak with the attorneys. I think that unfortunately, the issues we've had is and this is just my opinion and interpretation, is that some things do get brought to the attorney, maybe without, at least in the opinion of some of the board, without the full transparency, so it causes this tension. There's both sides, I think, that get frustrated, feeling like, one obviously feels like he can't do his job, the others feel like it's being used inappropriately, and so I think that's a concern. Unfortunately, that puts the attorney in a funny spot where they feel like they're afraid to do their work.
But
and
we've
not get
actually
paid.
hired separate attorneys and talked to them willy-nilly without anybody knowing what we're
Yeah.
talking to them.
That is not true.
Well-
Every single time that those attorneys were done, it was board approved. Every single time.
Well, I would say that when I've talked to the attorney, I've updated the board with an email.
Yes, you have, but you have had that approval from the board first. Otherwise, we wouldn't even have had that attorney.
All right,
I'm just
but the
trying to-
fact remains that the supervisor last month said he was going to contact the attorney for a legal opinion, and then it
Did
could
he
not
do
be
that?
done.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we all got, I know I did, and so I'm assuming everybody did, that it was not done because there wasn't board action taken on his desire for a legal opinion. So that's the problem that I have, is that things are held off because, in this instance anyway, a month has gone by when work could have been completed or done or moved forward, advanced, and it wasn't. And there's no reason for the residents and the businesses and whatever in this community to have their hands tied for a month because of some kind of a power struggle or whatever. I don't know.
Well,
But-
if you're saying from October, she then sends a email to the entire board. I mean, if that's the case, this was all being done anyway. And then she sends a email saying, oh, yeah, 3 weeks later, by the way. So how long did she wait?
I'm only seeing the month, so maybe I missed something.
Well, there was the email.
But the fact remains that work is not being done because of something that needed to be done that wasn't.
I think it's important to be careful with the motions we make. I'd be hesitant to, I get your intentions. I'd be hesitant to make the motion the way it's made.
Exclusionary?
Well, I'd be more inclined to refer to the already approved policies, saying that to allow board officials, elected officials, to contact the township attorney as, already approved per the policy manual, per already approved laws. That's all I'm getting at.
What does the
I almost
policy
I almost
manual,
see that as separate.
what does the policy manual say about using
Well,
the attorney?
I'm on the spot here and I don't honestly, can't remember where that's at, so I don't.
That's on purpose. And the thing is all we want is things brought up to the board. Why shouldn't we know what's going on behind the scenes? Why shouldn't we know that there have been meetings going on without board knowing what's going on? The only way that we know a lot of things is by looking at that attorney bill. So I don't have a problem with saying, hey, bring it to the board. Because what you want is a bunch of things being done without any board knowing anything until we receive a bill.
I brought the attorney's, or the planner's opinion. We were asked to go to a meeting. I took all of our professionals, at my request, to the meeting to gather the information. The planner went back and wrote a memorandum on how they, McKenna, felt about the position of GAMPS and the Right to Farm Act. Sent that to planning, because planning was the one requesting
That's right, planning.
the
yes.
information, and planning
Yeah, I
brought
don't have a
it to
problem with
me.
that.
I understand that, except planning can't ask the attorney for legal opinion.
That is not true,
That
because
is
it's
true.
one of the lists, it's one on the list. It most certainly is. There is a list that the planning commission is supposed to have in front of them at everything that they're supposed to review. Attorney is one of them, and fire department, and engineer, and all of them.
Because even when I was on planning, I remember if I had a question, I would either, if Don was here or Marge was here, I would ask permission to call the attorney for an opinion, because
From the planning department,
Mm-hmm,
that doesn't happen.
yeah. And,
The planning
yeah.
department calls the attorney on their own.
Chris,
I'm just saying, when I was here, I would ask Don, can I call Christine Anderson or Marge?
Christine
And that was-
Christine
that was-
actually called the attorney
Yeah, and that was
and
fine.
said that
Sure.
she wasn't really authorized to ask for that information,
She
and
was
I
great.
authorized it, I
Right.
approved it.
Mhm, yeah.
And then she wouldn't do it because apparently she could potentially not get paid for the work based on actions taken previously.
Camille kind of said it better than I did, which is trying to say that the reason for a lot of the tension does have to do with the communication, where we get the bill and that we were going, what is this about? We don't know anything about it. And I think that if we could find a way to keep the board better informed of those issues, then I think that would stem a lot of the concerns that the board in general
Well,
has
the
had.
fact still
in the past.
remains that if a board member asks the attorney or needs to ask the attorney something, it does not need to wait for the following month for
Yeah.
board action.
I agree, and I certainly didn't talk to the attorney and tell her not to do anything. I mean,
Yeah, and in the past, I mean, I've called the attorney, Camille's called the attorney, trustees called the
I've
attorney, we
spoken
all
with the
have
attorney in the
permission to
past,
do
yeah,
that.
on other issues.
All right, well, that's fine, but it still needs to, that can be reworded if that's amenable, but it cannot happen. It cannot destroy the work of the township taking care of its community by not allowing the supervisor to make a phone call and have action taken on a legal opinion. I mean, that's just insane.
Well, I mean, I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but if anybody on the board wants to pursue something that the rest of the board is not interested in, then at what point, does,
Do I just not approve the bill then when it comes to my desk?
well, I don't
Do I
know.
just
what-
simply not
I'm-
approve the
I'm
bill?
just using that and I can't think of an example, but there does come a point where the attorney would have to use some judgment, if an elected official is not performing the way that they should. Where do we don't want to say, yeah, you can call them whatever you want, and they're talking about something unrelated to the township, and you know what I mean?
Right.
Right, we don't do
Right.
that, yeah.
So that's why I think you have to be careful with.
And that's why things need to be more transparent instead of less, and everything needs to be brought to the board, instead of meetings that are just, well, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then you'll see the bill whenever I'm done.
Well, I think if there's a general consensus of the board on a direction, that there's the supervisor or whoever's handling a task should certainly have the ability to, I don't want to imply that, I don't agree with Camille to that extent. I think that the supervisor in this case should certainly have the ability to move forward on a task that the board as a whole is
Yes.
requesting. And so if we are interested in, if we think we need clarification, which I think we do, even though that's not that specific of a motion, then I think that we need to make sure the attorney knows that we need some clarification on GAMPs right now. And she should not be concerned of doing the work for for the sake of not getting paid.
That's why she's not
That's what
doing
she
it.
was doing, yeah.
Well, then maybe the motion
That's why
should
she
be
did do it.
specific to
She
GAMP.
spent 7 hours on it.
Yeah, and it's gonna take more than 7 hours to give an opinion on the memorandum that the planner sent over. And that's why she said, well, wait a minute, I'm not gonna tie up 10, 15 hours in something if you guys are just gonna pull the bill again and not pay it.
Well, in this
So
instance.
are you asking for,
Just to get
The ability
professional,
to do my job, yeah.
for professional?
just allow,
In this instance, there were 2 emails that I felt were something I would not have sent an email, and I think that's why the attorney has the concerns that she has, because there was a couple emails that were sent, and so this specific instance, I think we should address.
so we just want to make a motion specifically for the GAMS to allow
What-
Christine Anderson to
Do we have to
provide
vote
it to
on-
the board?
Do we have to vote
I think
on
it's,
this?
Christine's afraid that she wasn't going to get paid for it, that's what, Yeah.
The reality is, I think if we need to talk to the attorney, you or I, we should be able to talk to the attorney. And-
Talking to the attorney for a little bit on here and there, we've always done that. But when you are going to do something that you are telling me is 10, 15 hours, I think it needs to be a board vote. Period.
all right,
This is a big, big issue. I think the entire board needs to be involved in it. I don't understand why the board wouldn't be told, this is what we're looking at, and this is what I think we should have the attorney look at. It's gonna cost a lot of money, just like water and
Yeah.
sewer. It's not that big a deal. Why not? That's why I
I-
sent this email. You're gonna open up the door for a giant,
I did that a month ago.
No, you didn't. There was no vote on anything.
There didn't need to be a vote.
There did need to be a vote. The board needed to be abreast of this and all in on this together, so that there is no question. Why would she send, I didn't send this email out on the second. She sent the email out for clarification because she wants the board to be involved on this. This is a big, big deal. It's a lot of money going out, and we should be all voting on this. This should not be a, well, you know, we don't know what's gonna happen here. We need to be all in unison on this, or at least majority.
I'll make that motion to allow Attorney Christine Anderson to provide a professional opinion on the GAMS as requested.
I'll second that.
Finley?
Yes.
Pedrak?
Yep.
Murray?
Yes.
Getzinger?
Yes.
Swag? Yes?
Hall operations. Okay. I have to kind of write it down because people seem to think that it's not that big of a thing. I've been dealing with multiple suppliers and sources for quite a while. I'm disappointed in the function of the hall during this particular pandemic. I guess it has to be spelled out and should be. My position is the, if you will, buildings administrator. The Township Hall for the COVID-19 response rules for health and safety of the public and employees as requested by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services until further notice. The hall doors are to be locked to eliminate the coming and going of unmonitored people who are entering the hall for any type of business. Employees who can work from home are given remote access, ability to access the software to continue to meet the daily needs of the public. Meetings / all businesses within the hall will be by appointment only. This can be achieved by calling the township and speaking with the proper department. Anyone who physically comes to the hall without an appointment can call the hall at the number provided on the door. The department doing business with the person with the appointment must meet them at the door, make sure they have a face mask on, fill out contact tracing forms with names, phone number, date, time, and temperature taken by the township employee upon entry. These forms are to be confidential. Areas of each department where an appointment takes place should be disinfected after each appointment. All employees must wear face masks when in the common area of the township hall. Hand sanitizer should be used before using any equipment, copier, doorknobs, or any other surface touched by more than one person. Done. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people walking in and people walking out is not a good policy in this environment. You know, some folks came in today, if you want folks to just walk up and pay whatever, we can put a table out on the front porch or in the front hallway and close the second set of doors. But the problem is you have your public restrooms in the front hall, so that again is a common area of the hall. It's not a closed office. I think we need to take this particular situation seriously. And this just has to stop. I mean,
But you have to do it legally, and this is not legally done.
this is legal.
No, it is not legally done.
Where
You
does
have
it
to
say-
have,
where-
you must have, according to the MTA. You
The
must
MTA
have.
the MTA is not a legal authority.
Yeah.
Let's make that clear. This is from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and this is,
It's not
this is
legal.
MIOSHA, okay? I
No.
don't care what you want to say, okay?
It's
MIOSHA
not
has
legal.
requirements. Stop,
It
right?
is not legal. You must have a
You
preparedness
just don't want to wear a
plan.
mask, okay? You've been a problem. This is where the mentality comes in. This is what ticks me off. You gotta care. You gotta want
It
to
has
care.
nothing to do with caring. It has to do with following the
It
law.
has to do with being safe.
It has to do with
It has
following the
to do
law.
with me being able to promise our employees that they don't have an issue.
Oh, you gotta be
Can-
kidding. This
can
is
you-
the
I'm not
law.
kidding you.
Can we, what is wrong with it? Can you give more
The
detail?
law has to be, you have to have a preparedness plan. This plan has to be approved by the board. It has to be steps situated, and you must have a workplace coordinator following
So-
into this.
If we approve this, you're saying we're legal?
This is not any kind of legal.
But you're
Who
not
is
giving
going
me-
to implement it? According to the MTA, you have to have someone who is implementing it and who is going to be filing with all of these things. The plan
Did I not
designates
implement this
so-and-so
about
as
2
a...
weeks ago? Did I not implement this 2 weeks ago?
Washington
You
Township,
didn't.
The problem
you
is
can't-
I got people that aren't doing it.
You can't implement something on your own without board approval.
Because I even did call, like Lori Lasko, because they were going through the same thing, and it's, you know, they know the law too, but it will ultimately up to the board to decide if they wanted to do that, if they want to let people in or not.
When you're talking MIOSHA and public safety,
And they have it closed.
that's way above that. Okay, this isn't something we get to pick and choose
No,
with.
I understand that. I'm just saying.
This
it
is
was
the
board
Michigan
decision.
Department of Health and Human Services and MIOSHA.
Yep.
This is about employees. This is about Tom, Christine, you, Dawn, Becky, you. This is about people.
Yeah, yeah.
This is about any taxpayer that walks in that door.
Lennox Township is closed, yep. Oh, I understand.
Can't walk in the fire department without filling out a form.
all the local areas are and have been through this whole pandemic, and I know that Washington and Bruce Township have set up tables in their lobby area that were closed off
Do
for
they make
tax.
them, the only item on here that I questioned a little bit was the requirement to fill out the form. If you're wearing masks the whole time,
It's
do
called-
you still
it-
have to fill
You
It's
it?
still
called
have
contact
to.
tracing. It's
Yeah.
called
I
contact
get what
tracing.
contact tracing is, but if you're wearing
And
a
so-
mask
The date,
the whole
name,
time.
And so what we did find
Yeah.
out about that is
All
it
the
needs to be
other
confidential, so
municipals
when
do.
somebody fills out there should be a box on the table, and maybe even, one of those, pads you use for phone messages. Name,
But we have that
time.
up there, the date, the name, they're in the
tear it off
temperature.
and put it in the box, because then if we find out I'm COVID positive, Mary's COVID positive, we need to be able to tell those people they were exposed. We need to be able to tell those people they were exposed. That's what it's all about, is being able to contact the people who are in here. Somebody walks in here, shakes my hand, I'm COVID positive. I don't know it for 5 days, 6 days.
You're not supposed to shake hands.
No.
I get that.
But businesses are
But
required to do
I
that
mean-
also in the private sector.
Yeah.
I'm just, because I thought there, if it was not wearing a face mask or within 6 feet for more than 15 minutes was when you're considered exposed.
Everyone's got to wear a mask when
No,
they're in any,
I agree.
No matter what.
right?
I'm just asking if we are trying to say, well, let's be
Well,
consistent.
some
Is
of
that
us
what other
have to wear a
communities are
mask.
doing?
Okay, some of us don't. Some of
Well-
us choose not to wear masks.
Well, this even says if you're in a common area. So if you're sitting at your desk, you don't have to
Yeah, we
wear-
don't,
Right.
yeah. But when we come in the middle.
I mean, most people are used to it. I'm used to it now, you know, you wear a
Mhm.
mask. So I personally don't have any issues with this. If, I haven't quite gotten the answers out of the treasurer that I was looking for, but if we need to vote to make this legal, then
Then it
then
comes
we
to
should
vote.
vote on it, you know?
Mhm.
But the community I work for, we do something very similar. We don't actually do the contact tracing, I don't believe. But we do appointments, if somebody's standing outside and they really want to come in, and they have a mask, they can
Right,
call.
then they
So
call, yeah.
that's a very minor inconvenience, it's
Mhm.
like 30 seconds, you know, of waiting.
Right.
But so I don't personally see that as an issue. Whatever we have to do to make this legal and have the board support it, I think that we should do.
Motion to approve the Hall, Township Hall COVID-19 response
It's
program as presented
unbelievable.
by the supervisor.
Supported,
Murray,
yes.
Finley,
Absolutely not.
Getzner,
Yes.
Solakis, Peter.
Unbelievable.
Yes. Thank
It's
you.
not gonna happen.
Okay, committee for the Richmond Township Fire Service invoice. We were told to put that on the agenda by the attorney. Chief Scratchy suggested that we move on this because it needs to be taken care of. Chief, I have a copy for you here. Agenda item 11J, committee report Richmond Township Fire Service invoice. Outstanding invoice needs to be addressed, as well as future responses to the Richmond Township. At the Richmond Township's October 14th, 2020 meeting, the board chose to request their attorney to draft a letter to Armada regarding our invoice instead of paying for the service. A meeting should be held with all townships, cities, and fire representatives. This would include Richmond Township officials, City of Richmond Mayor and Fire Chief Curtis Spence, City of Memphis Mayor and Fire Chief Justin Diaz, representatives from Macomb County, Mavis, and a committee from the Armada Township, to include the supervisor, fire chief, and one additional board member. Chief, any input?
Just to give a brief history of it, to bring it to speed, you know, we obviously were providing for many years service to part of Richmond Township. They've decided at their right to go outside and use other agencies to do that, but still are expecting us to come to provide aid. And the biggest issue is mutual aid is just that, mutual. We provide a service to Richmond Township, they should be able to reciprocate that same, but they don't have a fire department. The two other agencies, Richmond and Memphis, we do have aid with, but we're apples and apples with them. So unless-
Apples and oranges.
well, apple.
Yeah.
We give and take.
We both have fire
So we give and
departments.
take. They bring a fire truck with staff, we bring a fire truck and
Right.
staff. So we aid with them, but the township of Richmond itself have no fire department. They don't provide additional responses from other municipalities because they can't. So therefore, it's not mutual anymore. In speaking with the County Chiefs Association, Mavis rep, their suggestion is a billing system. We sent the bill to them and they refused to pay it, claiming that there's no mutual agreement. So, our attorney suggested that we sit down and talk with them first before pursuing any farther.
Mhm.
Make a motion before any discussion? Any
Mhm.
discussion by the board?
Yeah, I make a motion to pursue a committee to approach Richmond Township regarding our unpaid invoice. And that should include the fire chief, supervisor, and one other board member. Now, do you think, Jim, being that you work for Richmond City?
I should not be on that. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Is there support on the table?
I'll
for
support
this?
that.
Okay.
I don't know, Camille, would you be interested in participating in
No.
this? No? It's a financial.
No.
Mary, were you in on the
I wasn't
last-
on it before.
Do you have
Unless
interest?
Sarah, it doesn't matter to me, whatever.
Doesn't matter to me or whatever.
No, flip a coin. No, that's fine, I can,
You gonna stick with it, Mayor?
I will stick with it then.
All right.
All right,
So our committee would be Supervisor, Fire Chief, and Clerk Swacky.
Getzinger,
Yes.
Swaki, yes, Murray,
Yes.
Finley,
Yes.
Bitter.
Yep. Thank you. Fire Department approval annual exemption, Public Act 152, which is our insurance.
Yep, this is our annual, we always opt out of this, is we do not meet the threshold. The allowed limit is $7,043.89 per single employee. We've got 7, so that is $49,307.23. And we only spend $34,494.72. So we don't exceed the allowed limit, so we can opt out with the resolution that I've prepared here. So I will make a motion to approve resolution 2020-22 as presented.
Support.
Murray,
Yes.
Finley,
Yes.
Getzinger,
Yes.
Swaki, yes, Bitter.
Absolutely, thank you. Okay. Trustee Getzinger?
My only comment is that we consistently keep at the meetings, we have agenda items that are not, do not have support in the agenda packet, and I just think that's very important. Today, we talked at length about delays due to the, attorney not having, feeling like she has authorization to do stuff, but we consistently get items where in, the last couple items, I had no information on it, and I feel like that's inappropriate. And as a board member, I just feel like we, at least myself, I'm not able to thoroughly investigate
Be better
and
prepared.
put my thoughts together and be prepared to discuss it at a meeting. I just think that at some point that we have to stop doing that. I'm gonna quit voting on items if we're not going to, if I don't feel preprepared.
Well,
And
that
I
is our
certainly
policy.
I certainly do my best, and I feel comfortable, but I just don't think that's the best for the township. I don't know how many times I can ask that we do this, but something has to change here, and I just request that out of everybody on the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Murray?
I just wanted to let all of you know, I will be taking my first new officials training class next week through the MTA. I signed up for that. I paid
Okay,
for
and I
that.
put the form in your packet too.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
in-
because,
in the- Yep, that's great that you did that already, though,
yeah,
that's good.
and
Okay.
it's on me, so it's not anything that I'm requiring.
No, that's through the township.
Thanks. The other thing is, and I'm sure we all got this, but in our emails, I got something from, like the DIA on different things that they're doing. Number one, basically because of all the COVID and everything, but there's free general admission to the museum for residents. There's free virtual educational programming for teachers and students, which, is always a good thing to have, especially now when everybody's home and learning from home. And so there was a lot of different things that came in the email. Free K-12 field trips with free transportation, free senior tours. And I just thought that was a good thing for everyone to know about, that, number one, because it's part of our taxes anyway within Macomb County. We've,
Right.
For years
We
we've
pay
done
for
that.
it,
But there's a lot to do with professional development for teachers and stuff for seniors. And I just wanted to put it out there that it is out there and it is available. And I'm sure it can be found on the DIA's website, and different things that they offer.
Thank you. Treasurer Finley?
Well, I'm sure you guys all got this email that I received December 8th. It said all township meetings must be held completely virtually until December 20th, as of yesterday. But we don't follow rules. So-
Clerk Swacky?
Nothing.
Well, I'd like to, again, wish our community a Merry Christmas, a safe Merry Christmas. If it's anything like Thanksgiving, our family was, if you will, stifled with our challenges with the COVID and having aged people and compromised people in our family, it does make for a little bit different setting. So stay safe, be smart. The Lions, actually I should say Nick Schaefer and the Fair Board have come up with a way to save the Santa Day fly-in, and they're going to sponsor a drive-through at the fairgrounds with the Armada Lions. The Lions will be packing their candy bags this week, and the Fair Board will allow the participants to stay in their car, drive in the fairgrounds, and park in order. And as they go through, Santa Claus will be there with a PA system and microphones. And they have some wireless mics that they'll be providing for the kids in the car to talk to Santa. And then they'll be able to sterilize them between each car because they have 3 different mics. And so on the 19th from noon to 3, December 19th from noon to 3 at the Armada Fairgrounds, we will be doing our Santa Day for the Lions with the drive-thru, thanks to the help of the Armada Agricultural Society. So,
That's great.
and I'd like to welcome Sarah to the board. Thank you very much for your commitment to the community, and make a motion to adjourn at 8:11.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the meeting's over.